AI is writing captions, emails, and even podcasts faster than we can blink. The internet is starting to sound like one big ChatGPT echo chamber. I'm sure you felt it. We have. But here's the twist. In a world where everyone's blending in with the bots, being authentically human is your biggest competitive edge. Today, we're diving into how introverted entrepreneurs can build memorable personal brands, not by being louder, but by being more real, more intentional, and more strategic about how they use AI without losing their voice. So, Kat, offline, you and I have been talking about how my clients keep asking me about AI. So much so that I'm writing a whole series about AI right now on LinkedIn for the month of October. And I just feel like I am deep in how to use AI while still keeping your voice, how to use AI while still getting your message across, how to use AI while still being a values-driven brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to bring it to Not Nice Clever because, everything that we learn, we share.
No gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping here. So I thought we'd have this conversation in front of people because we are learning and teaching at the same time. So I'm learning about AI while I'm teaching my clients about AI. And I'm grateful for all the people who have helped me learn. Like Coin has been an amazing resource in helping me to learn how to use AI. If you guys don't remember listening to Coin's episode, he is a wealth of knowledge. We will drop that in the show notes for you guys because we were talking about AI before
Like
everyone with Coin.
a year and a half. Yeah, to 2
A year and a half
years
ago,
ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. And he was telling us things that we had no idea how to use at that time.
Mm-hmm. I know. And
Right?
now we're on to the newest and next thing. And it's so wild how quickly it's all moving.
Yep. So grateful for all the people who are continuing to teach us, to continuing to push us on how to use this. And today we are giving back by sharing ways that Kat and I are using it, how we're encouraging our clients to use it while still maintaining your voice. So, let's dive in, Kat.
Let's do it. So I think there's so many different ways that I use AI to help clarify and to help distill all of the thoughts in my mind, because obviously you are the creative one. You are the thing that powers your business. And the beautiful ideas that are sparked in your mind from your own experience, from everything you've inherited, from having conversations, whether they're with family members or peers or clients, that's the genius we want to bottle. We don't want to outsource that part to AI. But what I love doing, two main things come to mind. One is I will voice note into ChatGPT, which is my AI platform of choice right now. I haven't gotten into Claude or Grok or any of the other ones. ChatGPT has really served all of my needs, and I've seen a lot of results from it. And I will voice note whatever it is that I'm thinking on or I'm stuck on, or I want to flesh something out. And I will have it ask me questions to even dig deeper and to even identify. My favorite prompt for ChatGPT is to say, hey, of everything that I've just shared to you, like I've word vomited, right? I've brain dumped. Can you identify any patterns? Can you identify any trends? Can you analyze, not to create posts from my voice note, but to analyze the underlying themes and to draw my attention to my own expertise and articulate it and reflect it back to me? That is super powerful because, Candace, you and I are consultants and coaches. Our clients hire us when they are experts in different industries than us, but we can still witness and have perspective and ask really good questions. And I love using AI for that. Have you ever done that type of exercise with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Coin actually recommended that I use AI and ask a specific question like, act as a brand strategist and ask
Mm-hmm.
me any questions that you would need to know about me to fully understand my brand. And it came up with, I don't even know, 20, 30 questions that
So
it
many.
asked me about my brand and like who I work with, why I do what I do, what I'm an expert in, just so many questions to really dive deep. And that's a really great prompt for someone who is just starting out
Mm-hmm.
is tell ChatGPT what role you'd like it to take on, or any AI, what role, and then ask it to ask you the questions to understand who you are. So that I did when Coin told me to 2 years ago, okay? However long ago
Mm-hmm.
that was. And that has been really, really powerful because I realized that my chat GPT, and I've created a custom GPT since then, and
Mm-hmm.
it really does sound like me. So I can create plans and ideas that are my voice and my way of thinking because it knows me so well because it's asked me so many questions. And I've done that periodically since as I've changed, I've asked ChatGPT to ask me new questions. But one of my favorite ways to use it right now, Kat, is I'm recording all of my client calls with Fathom. It's a
Mm-hmm.
tool that we use at Zealot, and it's a tool that I use personally as well. And I am taking the transcripts from all of my calls and putting them into ChatGPT and asking it to analyze and find trends from my calls. And it will tell me the things that my clients are talking to me most about. And I've done this, and I've actually been sharing this as kind of a bit of a series on Instagram. Like I asked ChatGPT to analyze my calls, and one of them is really funny because one trend is I was like, I asked AI to find the trend, and AI told me that AI is the trend. That's
It's
the
like
thing that
Inception
everyone's
all over
talking to me
again.
about is AI.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a funny thing. Another thing that it came up with as a trend. I'm forgetting what it was, but I posted about it, and now I'm looking on Instagram because you guys know I will look up anything while we're on this
Mm-hmm.
call. Oh, here it is. So out of 7 consultations that I had in a week, um, 5 times the same question came up: what is a brand? Or some variation of that. So people are
Mm-hmm.
asking me on consultations, like, what is a brand? Because there's not clarity around if a brand is just a logo, is a brand a look, is a brand a feeling, like what is a brand literally?
Mm-hmm.
And that kept coming up. So now I know that's something my clients want to talk about or my prospects want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking more about that on my Instagram and places where I know people can find me. So using things that I'm already doing in real life. Already in real life, I have consultations. Already in real life, I have calls. And I'm putting real life conversations into ChatGPT to help me make better content, to help me show up as a stronger
Mm-hmm.
coach and consultant. And that has been really a powerful tool for me because sometimes I focus on the part of my job that maybe I like the most or the part that I find most interesting, but it's allowed me to focus on the pieces that my audience finds most
Mm-hmm.
interesting or needs more support with.
Yeah. Well, and bridging the gap, right? Because as long as like you're excited and energized by it and you are giving the people what they want, that's a win-win situation. And I think that that is probably one of the most underutilized ways to incorporate ChatGPT into your day-to-day is to have it analyze trends and patterns and reflect back to you because you don't need AI to do more. You actually need AI to show you less of what's working and then do more of that.
That.
And of
Yes.
that, right? Of the
Yes.
less thing that people are asking for and being really focused. Like it's so funny. This past weekend, I was recovering from being sick for the last couple weeks, and I finally caught up the with the 2 hour podcast interview that Taylor Swift did on Jason and Travis Kelsey's podcast. If you guys don't know, like I'm a big Niners fan, also an Eagles fan, sort of. Live here in Philly now, but it was really fascinating because Taylor was speaking to how she has different goals for every album. And she said the goal for this album, as opposed to her prior album, which had over 30 songs, and it was almost like just a massive data dump. Like I remember talking to friends listening to that album, they're like, there's so much I have to take a break from listening to it. Versus her newest album, The Life of a Showgirl, she's like, I just wanted it to be super focused. There's only 12 songs. And she said, every song is capturing a moment in time. I know exactly what I want to communicate in that song. And the album is just complete, it's whole. And she could have written and produced dozens of songs on that album, but she didn't. She chose to be really, really focused. And I think that that's what ChatGPT can help you do is to take all of the input of your client sessions. Like I do that regularly now, where I will input a session transcript and I'll say, where did I show up well as a coach? How can I show up better as a coach? And of course, extracting themes. I can do better on that because I haven't really done that as well. I've really been doing it about honing my craft as a coach, which is really good. But if you're a real estate professional or a lender, do it. Say, if you were the top 1% of 1% agents globally, what am I not doing that I could be doing based off of all of this information I just gave you? And obviously, you're not going to go and do everything that it says, but it can show you the gap of like what other people are doing, where you're at, and you can adapt and kind of, again, it just reflects like, it's just amazing. But it's not to outsource your voice, like that's one thing I want everyone to remember and take away from this episode.
Another thing that you can do is take content you've already made that has done well or that you like or really sounds like you, and
Mm-hmm.
put that into ChatGPT and say, like, this is me at my best, or this is what I sound like, this is how I want to sound in future posts, and it will begin to know your voice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really helpful with me because it knows things I would say or not say. Like, I always tell people I am not techie. I am not, or not people, ChatGPT. I tell them I'm not techie. I'm not a bro. Like, I would never say that. And I literally say over and over, that doesn't sound like me. That doesn't sound like me. I wouldn't say that. Here's how I would say it instead. And
Yeah.
remember this. And it has really gotten very close to sounding like me at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think to your question of how many people don't know what a brand is, I think to give ChatGPT the context of your tone of voice is so important. And that is, even though that's a jargony term, brand tone, brand, like voice of customer, all it is knowing how you want to describe how you make people feel when they read your words. Do you want them to be energized? Do you want them to be inspired? Do you want them to be motivated? Do you want them to be thoughtful? Like, just really even knowing those descriptions. Like, I know for my own brand tone, I am very clever, I'm bold, I'm cinematic, dramatic. That's, I use a lot of analogies and metaphors. Like, I use the metaphor of building, metaphor or analogy. It's an analogy. Building a brand is like building a house. And so even just having that awareness about your language, because I would say of all the things that go into creating a brand, and of all the things that generic ChatGPT content gets wrong, is the language, the words that they use. The words are so generic, and that feeling when you read a ChatGPT caption, you're like, ugh. Versus if you have a catchphrase or you have your own weird little lingo, or it throws in a random astrology reference, you're like, that's probably Cat. That's probably
Mm-hmm.
Cat talking,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that people are still asking it just to create content, like, make me a market update, make me 30
Right.
posts for the month, and that's never going to get you the type of content that you want that's actually going to be memorable and connects with your
Mm-hmm.
audience. And so the real thing is, how do you use ChatGPT or any other AI to make even more connections with human beings,
Mm-hmm.
not just be seen by human beings.
Yeah. Because there's no point if you're seen but they don't remember you, then you're just like getting swiped past. And I'm looking at like our notes here, like a few of the things that AI can't do yet, or maybe not ever, I'm not sure. Like, it is moving really quickly, but AI can't create that sense of like human vulnerability that you get when you like call up your best friend. Like, I have a good friend of mine who I've known for years, and I found out that she's going through something, and I was texting with her back and forth, and it was just like, just our text exchange and knowing that we were connecting on that, and I was supporting her from afar because she lives in Miami. AI cannot do that, and so like the way that I would use it is like, let's say you do have a story you want to share, but you're not an expert storyteller yet, right? Just say, hey, kind of had this crazy situation happen today. ChatGPT, can you help ask me questions so that I can start to put together a story that would make sense, that would captivate? And I think also remembering or asking ChatGPT to say, and every time somebody reads something I write, I want them to feel what? You want them to
Yeah.
feel inspired, right? Whatever that might be.
It's like one of the things ChatGPT knows about me is that I speak in a no nonsense bestie tone. Like I'm your bestie, but I will call you out on your bullshit when you're not doing
Mm-hmm.
the thing you should be doing. You're not doing the best you can be doing.
Yeah, she's done it to
I'm
me so many times, guys.
I'm
It's
always gonna
hilarious.
lovingly call you out, but it's just because I know you can do better. So that's all. That's why. Um,
That's it.
but it's also the thing that makes people feel close to me because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting a wall between us or like treading on my words or being so careful because I act with emotion. But that's just like part of my brand. And so it knows I'm a no nonsense bestie. I will call you out. I will, tell you that that outfit looks terrible but lovingly, because I just want you to
Yeah.
look your best or whatever.
Look,
But
my
it
fashion
knows
has up leveled
it,
greatly since we became friends.
it's not even about you. It was about my friend, my bestie who was texting me today, who was like, "Do
There
you
we
like this
go.
outfit?" And I was like, "Are you going to Wyoming?" Like, because I like it if you're in Wyoming, but like in Vegas, it doesn't really work. And she said,
Yeah.
"You're so mean." And I said, "I know, but that's why you love me." And she's like, "Yeah, basically,
Mm-hmm.
that's why you called me
Done.
because I'm not going to be like, yeah, that looks great if it doesn't." And it would look
Exactly.
great in the right setting. Anyways, that's an aside. But basically, I'm always going to tell you the truth, okay? I had one more tip that I wrote in my newsletter that I wanted to share,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you said to tell it your tone,
Mm-hmm.
but you can literally
Mm-hmm.
give it your tone. So record something that you're actually doing because you might say, "Oh, my tone's confident," but like,
Mm-hmm.
what does confident
Mm-hmm.
Candace might sound different than confident Cat, right? The way we show up sounds different.
Right.
So if you can give it actual pieces of you on stage, you giving a workshop, you on a podcast, like, and you're feeling that thing you want to feel, whatever, if it's
Yeah.
confident or you're feeling like that bestie,
Yeah.
upload that. That is the thing that's going to help because sometimes the words are just not enough.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's a good point. And the other thing too that I see a lot of people use in just not the way that I would recommend is when it comes to responding to emails. So two things here in using ChatGPT to write an email because we've talked about, and I'm not talking about email marketing. I'm talking about an email between you and a client, you and a coworker, you and even a family member, right? If you're like that formal. So one, uh, people can tell if it's just completely written by ChatGPT. The consumer is so much smarter. Whoever you're writing to is a lot smarter than you're giving them credit for. It's been done so many times that it has become generic. So don't do that. But I wanted to share one statistic here that our producer pulled. This stat shows that one Cornell study on a short video found that AI generated titles increased video consumption by 7.1% when the creators co-edited the AI titles. But purely AI generated titles sometimes underperformed human tweaked ones. So the sweet spot is
Wow.
use it right.
Yes.
So it's like it's not an either or situation. We're not saying never use AI and we're not saying only do your thing. It's and, right? Give it some good input, have it come up with a couple titles. I always look at whenever AI is presenting options to me, I pay attention to whatever makes me feel something. Like what do I sit up straighter in my chair or I lean in? You know that. Like it's like muscle testing. You know, when you go to the doctor and they like stick needles into your muscles and test your like muscle strength, right? But it's like muscle testing. And so find that and then tweak it, right? Because I'm sure that there's a word or two in that title that you would be like, Bestie Candace would never, right? And then just change that part. The other thing too that I love and have been doing is instead of rushing to respond to an email, like I'm dealing with a situation right now where it might actually go to court. Nothing crazy, but it's just like more irritating than anything. But I'm very self righteous and I want to champion the little guy. So it's probably going to end up there. Is to drop a PDF of the email, right, as an attachment into the ChatGPT conversation and ask ChatGPT to analyze any underlying like emotion or motivation or different perspectives or angles that you might be missing. And then use that input, that insight to then draft the response yourself, because you might be assuming, oh, this person wrote this. This is exactly what they're thinking, right? If you're dealing with a difficult client or a high stakes situation, chat might find something that you missed that could completely change how you're going to approach responding to that email. And then you write the email yourself, which makes it that much more impactful. So that's my little tip on just for email communications with clients, what I have been doing if it's a tough one. And I'm a writer. So like if it's tough for me, I can imagine it can be tough for others. So like use that as like a hack, right? To like read between the lines, but still write like a human, you know?
Yeah. I'd also say the more that you can give it stories or real life scenarios, the better. So, something I've been working on is using my LinkedIn newsletter as more like thought leadership, like, here's what you can do. But in my emails, I'm trying to use the same topic, but make it more story. So, like, here's what happened with my client, and that's why we need to do this other thing. So it's like grounding all of the knowledge or next steps in something that actually happened so that it
Mm.
feels more real instead of just, I don't know,
A,
like,
a framework like in the
yeah,
ether.
yeah, exactly. Like, well, I had to create this framework because this is what was going on over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's really important is that it feels like a natural next step instead of just this thing that exists out of nowhere. That people get caught up when we say story because they're like, oh, but like they think story means a novel. Like it has to be this long thing.
So, and this came up actually when I was talking with my members inside Bold Brand Energy, where somebody had said a story, and this is not the framework. I'll get into like the framework, but somebody had said a story, and then another person was like, "Oh my gosh, that reminds me of Jim and Pam from The Office." And when that other person said that, after that initial person shared the story, I was like, guys, pause. I was like, the fact that somebody else recalled another situation, you activated an image in their mind of something that they had watched. I was like, that's how you knew you told a story. That's evidence, right? And all a story is three parts, right? The way things were, what changed, and how are they now? Like, that's it. Like, that, the simplest format. Like, what's your take on that, Candace?
So I'm just calling them micro stories on purpose so people can understand that it doesn't have to be a novel. Those three parts
Mm-hmm.
could literally be a couple sentences. That could be the story. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be this, they think about it when it comes to content. Like if it's a video, they think it has to be like the cinematic masterpiece.
It has to have like the hook, the call to action, the three bullets, the call, and then just like, oh, it's too much.
It doesn't always have to be like that. And so now I'm just saying micro stories so people have permission to make it short.
Here we go.
And you can use them anywhere in your carousel posts, in your emails, in your content, newsletters, whatever. You can use a micro story to help anchor the next thing that you're going to teach if you happen to be teaching.
Mm-hmm. Well, because that is going to be the fourth part, right? The bonus fourth part is here's what was going on, here's what changed, here's how it is now. The fourth is here's what I learned
Yeah.
from this
Right.
change, right?
Yeah. Or here's what you
And
can learn from this.
or here's what you can learn.
Or
Yeah,
yeah, either way.
whatever
Yeah.
whatever
Whatever
way you want to
works.
slice it. For example, I woke up Monday morning. I was getting ready to work out and do my bar workouts, and I walked into my home office and stepped onto the floor, and it was soaking wet. And I found out that my home office had flooded overnight. Then had to cancel my meetings, had to call my insurance, had to call the building, had to do all of this. And here's what I've learned: always have a backup plan, always have a backup laptop, because I didn't have a backup laptop. And also make sure you get enhanced flood insurance if you have a below grade apartment, and insert, right? But I just told that story in like what, 40 seconds? That's it. Before, change, after, lesson. One thing you could, okay, last thing I'll share about AI is you could say, how can I adapt this so that it is optimized for different platforms? That's also really helpful, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, and Candace, just for the clever crew here, has anybody ever stopped you and said, excuse me, you shared this exact same topic in your newsletter on October 11th at 7 p.m. Why are you repeating yourself?
Never. It's never going to happen. Oh, and you
No.
made a podcast episode about it. Like,
Right.
no, they're never going to say that because
They don't pay attention to that.
not the same person isn't seeing it everywhere for one.
True.
If they are seeing it everywhere, great. They think I'm everywhere, but it's likely not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's okay to use the same topic, especially if you're in a certain industry. Of course, you're going to talk about similar topics over and
That
over
means you're
again.
an
That's normal.
expert. Like, that's not, it doesn't mean you're a broken record. It means you're an expert. It's a good thing. Ugh, so many notes. We might have to do a follow up episode to this. But in the meantime, clever crew, stay clever, stay human, and remember AI can copy your words for sure, but it can never fake reply.
Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow our podcast wherever you listen to audio.
And head to www.notniceclever.com to connect for more.
Drop a question, we'll shoot you an answer. We're not gatekeepers here.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you next week.